You can sit over here.
What? It's good right here. Like,
No.
I need a little something.
We put it in the middle there.
I need to lean on something.
So maybe in the middle, right there.
Hmm?
There. That way you lean it back.
There's,
Is it all new technology?
At the end, you need a stender.
no matter what, right?
Okay, we are learning Kehillat Bais Nefesh Hachaim. There's actually something very fascinating going on here, but I want to just make it clear, 100% clear, what his chiddush is. We're talking about the sugya of Nefesh Ruach Neshama, the important division of the neshama into Nefesh Ruach Neshama. And what he has told us is that when you do a mitzvah properly, you could do mitzvahs not properly, but when you do a mitzvah properly, it engages all three parts of the neshama, which is the nefesh, the ruach, and the neshama. Your goof does a mitzvah, and the goof is engaging. If you just goof, then you're dead. You're goofy. You're just dead. But you're a goylem. But if you engage your nefesh, and then the ruach and the neshama, and what he taught us was, which was amazing, that if you, the minute you have a machshava to do a mitzvah, choyshev la'asos mitzvah. The minute you have a machshava to do a mitzvah, so that machshava already does something in the Shemayim, and what it does in Shemayim, just to say the words, nobody should pretend to understand this, but what it does is that the whole Bria is being created from this Or Hashem, Or Pashut, as the Arizal calls it, the Or Pashut. That's not Hashem, that's the Or Pashut that Kadosh Baruch Hu reflects. And when I have already a machshava to do a mitzvah, I think to myself, I'm going to give some tzedakah, right? I'm going to give some tzedakah. I want to give $10,000 to tzedakah. And so the minute you think that, so you've already were misaking something in the oilamos elyonos, in the world of, remember you have nefesh, ruach, neshama. In the world of neshama, you already did that, your thing. That's what the neshama does, because nefesh, ruach, neshama works kineged b'makbil of machshava, dibur, and maisa. So you already had a tikkun in the world of machshava. Important thing to know, that when you have a machshava to do a mitzvah, seshoin gitanefes, you already did something. And what happens, says Nefesh Hachaim, what happens with the world of nefesh, nefesh, ruach, neshama, that tikkun, that or that you created in the world of neshama, now, says Reb Chaim Volozhin, a beautiful lashon, that now comes down through the channel of neshama, ruach, nefesh, v'zeh ha-messiah, and that's what helps him ligmar es ha-mitzvah. So let's understand this in very simple English language. That I wake up in the morning, I say, I'm going to give 10 grand to tzedakah. Machshava, you did something. If you go this way, by the time you get to dibur, I tell somebody, you know what? I tell the gabbai, you know what? I want to give $10,000 to tzedakah, right? You tell him. So you have machshava, you have dibur. Now comes the ma'aseh, you got to write the check. You actually got to give the money. So you could say, person might say, I don't know where my head was. I don't know what I was talking about. Right? But Lamaisa, I'm not giving away $10,000, right? So, and that would be the normal Teva Hadvar. Because when it comes to Lamaisa, it's hard to give away the money. Not only it's hard to give away the money, but it's Keneged Teva to give away. So why should I give you something which belongs to me? Why should I give you something that I worked for, etc.? So what happens? The lumdus is, says Nefesh Hachaim, that the machshava that I created an or pashut, and now this or comes down, and especially when I talk it out, I bring it out through the world of Dibur, v'hu ha-messiah, and it's that very or which gives me the koyach to do the world of Asiya, to actually write the check. So there's two things that are happening over here. One is when I have a machshava, I'm already being masak in the world of neshama. The second thing is that or that I've created comes upon me. I'm already something special, something holy, and when it comes to bringing it to the world of Asiya, it's like otherwise it would be like writing a check with nothing in the bank. Okay, everybody can write a check when you have nothing in the bank, but I have backing here. I have machshava, I have dibur, I have maisa. I've created an or in shamayim. I have nefesh, I have neshama, I have ruach, and when it comes to the world of Asiya, I have such a gewaldige maisa. And that maisa of tzedakah is not only am I able to do it, but this is what's called, and this is a key thing, this is what's called a mitzvah lishma. A mitzvah lishma means that I did my maisa in the Asiya, I did it with a background, I should say, of my ruach and my neshama. All three of us are involved in this mitzvah. Not to be confused, gentlemen, by the way, with a mitzvah with kavana. A mitzvah with kavana has nothing to do with lishma, nothing, but it's different concept. Doing something with kavana means you know what you're doing. Like what does it mean? Obviously I know what I'm doing. Well, it's not so obvious. Sometimes the person could daven, blah, 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 right? And then you ask yourself 2 minutes later, did I daven? I don't remember if I davened, right? So, and in fact, it's almost like a good thing. It's a good habit. Like, they say a person who remembers all their mitzvahs didn't do too many of them.
So if you don't pledge out loud, in that sense, then it's not.
You're missing a piece of deeper. You're missing a piece of the process. There's an Indian of deeper. You see in the whole Hekdesh, the whole Kachim, there's a difference of Amira L'Gvay. Kim Sirah had an interesting thing which we need to talk about. I haven't done it. Okay, so I want you to understand this chiluk between lishma and kavana. Kavana is la'afuke misasek. I'm telling you serious halachic concepts over here. Misasek means I lost my wallet somewhere on the train. Somebody picked it up, and now I made his day. Now he can make Shabbos, and I have no kavana at all to do it. So now it's not that I didn't do a mitzvah lishma. I did a mitzvah b'li kavana. Is it worth something? It's worth something. We can go into that in a minute. But it's not. That's called mitzvah b'li kavana. If I'm sometimes, as I say, you're davening. It's kimisasik ba'alma. You're just saying words. I could do a mitzvah. It's kimisasik ba'alma. But the idea of it, that so kavana means that I know what I'm doing. That's what kavana means. Lishma means that I've taken this, that I know what I'm doing. That's the first step, and I'm doing it lishma, meaning nupshat and lishma, that I'm hooking it up to something deeper. I'm doing this mitzvah not just in the world of Asiya, but lishma, I'm doing it in the world of ruach, in the world of neshama. This is a mamash shleimus tikka mitzvah. And not only that, how do I even have the koach? I'm just saying over Nefesh Hachaim. How do I even have the koach to do the mitzvah, the ma'aseh mitzvah? The answer is because it started with a machshava, that filters down an energy to do something. Now, if that's the case, if I need the energy of lishma, neshama, ruach, machshava, dibur, to do a ma'aseh, so how could I ever do a mitzvah shaloi lishma? Certainly people do mitzvah shaloi lishma. How do you do a mitzvah shaloi lishma? Where do you get the energy from? Okay, so either somebody else. And what about if I do an Aveira? Where do I get the energy from? So Where does it come from? If the whole way I get energy is from this, the Or Pashut, which is where everything comes from, this Or Pashut, Shuhu Or Hamakiv, the Nefesh Hachaim adds over here, that's how the world is created, that's where I get energy, that's where I get my koach from. So how can I do an Aveira? How can I do a mitzvah shaloi l'shma, even if it's not hooked up? Where's that? Who's gassing this car? And the answer is, comes the Nefesh Hachaim, and he says, okay, but you need to understand something, that there's also something called the Sitra Achra, or a similar language, the Klipa. Where am I getting it from? I'm not hooked up to that source. So I took the plug out of the good source of energy, and I'm plugging it into the negative source of energy. There are so many nutritional examples of this, there's so many energy examples of this. I take it out of the Makar HaTov, I get in the Makar Hara. So when I'm doing that Aveira, I am being fueled by Klipa. You know, if here I'm talking Divrei Torah, B'ezras Hashem, I'm being fueled by a place of energy, by a place of R. If I have a Shaloi Lishma, even in one sentence of it, the plug in Shemayim immediately goes out and plugs into a Makar of Klipa, and now you should see me turning green. You should see me, my whole energy is coming from a different place. The only thing you will see, which is visible, is you all of a sudden get more energy when you're feeding off the Klipa. But you're becoming a parasite to the Klipa. So in the middle of a sentence, if Kal v'chomer, if I would speak Lashon Hara in the middle of the sentence, in the middle of the sentence, the plug goes out of here and goes into there. That's how fast God works. And my nafkamina, when you're feeding the Klipa, you're actually doing something bad. You're actually doing something bad. It's not like you're doing it good, but you're doing it shalei lishma. You're actually doing something bad. The Rambam says, I'll show you a lashon of the Rambam. The Rambam says in the end of Hilchos Tshuva, he says, listen to this lashon, because somebody asked at the beginning of the week, how does tshuva fit into this? And I'm going to tell you this. Says the Rambam, Kama mu'ula ma'ilus ha'tshuva. Look how beautiful tshuva is. Emesh, yesterday, ha'yizem muvdal me'ashem alikei Yisrael. Yesterday I was muvdal. Listen to the words in the Rambam, such the nuances, such sweetness of the lashon. I was muvdal. Me'ashem alikei Yisrael. A Rasha is muvdal. What does muvdal mean? I'm not getting any koach at all. Like a hevdel, like a machitza between me and Hashem. Where am I getting my energy from? I was muvdal. Me'ashem alikei Yisrael. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk in Yeshayahu, Avoy noisechem hayu mavdilim beinechem lebein elokeichem. Yeshayahu said to the people, this was right before the Churban Beis Hamikdash, your Averas are creating a mechitza shel barzel, between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's like getting cell phone reception in a tunnel. It's not going to work. You're mufdal. So how am I talking? Says the Rambam further, soyek, this person, soyek, right? You ever do that? Right? Screaming into your cell phone? No klita. Soyek ve'inoy nana. Pelephone. Soyek ve'inoy nana. Shenamar, because Yeshayahu further said, Kisirbu tefillah. You'll daven a lot. Now you're talking about what kind of a person? There's a hevdil between him and the Ribono Shel Olam. So what's he davening? Kisirbu tefillah. What's he davening if he's such a Rasha? The answer is he's a Rasha, but he's davening Shaloi L'Shma. I'm davening, but Kisirbu tefillah. Mitzvahs. This is really the line that I want to underline in your minds. Oisem mitzvahs. I'm doing mitzvahs. This guy who's muvdal. Oisem mitzvahs. Harry, what does it say? You know this by heart, right? V'torfin oisai b'fanav. What does that mean even? I'm doing mitzvahs. I'm putting on tefillin. I'm giving tzedakah. V'torfin oisai b'fanav. What does it mean? What is it? What does it mean? Tarfin oisai b'fanav. Doesn't mean to throw it back at you. I don't think that's what it is. What?
No, break it, smash.
Tear it up, destroy it. I'm doing mitzvahs, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu destroys those mitzvahs b'fanav. Mitzvahs, that's a mitzvah. Shenemar, mi bikesh zois biyetchem. Ramois chatzera. Yeshayahu. All these are up, so give me Yeshayahu. You're just Mikei Sois Miedchem. Like, what are you doing here? Romus Chatzera, you're making my chutzner dirty. My tefillin are making your chutzner dirty? Yes. Because, adds Nefesh Hachaim, because you're putting on tefillin, but your tefillin, the energy that you're using, you're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to a meeting, you're putting on tefillin, you're here because it's hard, but if it's all shaloi lishma, whatever that means, so your energy for it is not coming from a makor of kedusha, it's coming from a sitra achra. That's where it's coming from. Mi gam bochem v'yiskart losim. V'ayoim, so this is the Baal Tshuva, and today, hu mutbak b'shchina shenamar v'atem advekim b'Hashem Elokeichem. You do tshuva, you knock away that mechitza. Now, the chiddush here in this Rambam, which is too easily skipped, is that if a person does a mitzvah, forget about an aveira, if a person does a mitzvah, shaloi lishma, not only is it garnish vert, but it's a negative. Ramus chatzerai. You're bashmutzing my chatzer. Because all you're doing is activating the sitra achra. All you're doing is you're taking more klipa and you're bringing it into this world and you're doing a mitzvah shalei lishma. So what are we doing mitzvah shalei lishma? So sak the Gemara a chiddush. The chiddush says, "Oy lo miyaseg adam b'tayru mitzvah shalei lishma." Do it anyway. Why? Should we talk shalei lishma b'al lishma?
Is it really a mitzvah or is that a borrowed term over here?
Is it a mitzvah?
Is it really a mitzvah that he's
That's a
doing?
very good lumdish question you're asking.
Going through the motions.
Yeah, but he's saying api lumdis is it a mitzvah?
I'm calling it a mitzvah.
Right. And there's a Tosfos. So Tosfos says it's in Sukkah, Naftalit, I think. Tosfos says that if you do a mitzvah shaloi lishma, you shake the lulav on Yom HaShmini, but you do it shaloi lishma. So is it Bal Tosef? It's an important question. I didn't do it. What did I do? Bal Tosef means that I do a mitzvah. Now, why is that a mitzvah? You say the sukkah of the Yom HaShmini. A mitzvah haba ba'avera lashon Tosfos. Mitzvah haba ba'avera ain't no mitzvah. So if it's not a mitzvah, so it can't be Bal Tosef.
So how do you mix in this, that gra you taught us last week? So then comes a gra, said something over there, so to speak, and it attaches
Okay,
to
we'll
this.
get there. Very good. But you hear Ramesh's point that is it a b'chala mitzvah I'm doing? The answer is no. It's an avera. Or maybe it has the levush of a mitzvah, but it's a negative thing that I'm doing. Now, this is an important thing. So why am I doing it? I mean, we should not do mitzvahs if we can't do them lishma. So, I mean, there's two things here. First of all, I want to just say something that I've said 1,000 times, I won't say it again. It's not true. When everybody in this room does mitzvahs, they're doing it lishma. It's not true. It's not true that we're all shaloi lishma. I believe, if I could just be radical for a moment, I believe that it's a fiction of the yeshiva world. That just do it shaloi lishma. You're not on the madrega to do things lishma. That's for big tzaddikim. That leave that for the Chavetz Chaim to do things lishma. You got to climb the ladder slowly. I believe this is not true. Of course you do mitzvahs lishma. Is anybody here shaloi lishma right now, other than me? Well, of course I lishma. Did anybody go to davening this morning shaloi lishma? Less like your wife is going to get upset with you, but even that,
So what's the kavanah of lo lishma?
Oh, let's the kavanah shaloi lishma. So what's the kavanah shaloi lishma? You're giving tzedakah, right? You give it lishma, you give it shaloi lishma. So here's a guy who comes and says, you know what? I want to become part of the part of this elite club, and you got to give $10,000 to tzedakah to join the country club. Yesh davar, is that right? So I want to be a part of that country club, the recipient anyway. But okay, so it's shaloi lishma. How do I give tzedakah? It's an investment. I'll give tzedakah. I'm giving tzedakah. It helps me tax-wise. I'll give tzedakah. But this is also shtus, because even though people say, well, you got a tax receipt and this and that, so what? He still has more money if he doesn't give the tzedakah. Of course they're giving tzedakah lishma. I'm saying this is a fiction that we're not capable of doing things lishma. Of course we do things lishma. However, there is a case of shaloi lishma. I'm doing this for completely the wrong reason. I'm faking. I want to be accepted in a certain group. Okay, there are Shaloi Lishmas. On those mitzvahs of Shaloi Lishma, so you're actually doing a chasarn. Nevertheless, the Gemara says, La'olam yasek adam b'Torah mitzvah Shaloi Lishma. Torah is easier to understand, Darren. Why? Because I'm doing it because I want to be able to, be a big shot and learn. Yeah, I would say like 80% of the professors that are teaching Talmud in universities, they could be atheists. So it's Shaloi Lishma. They're not hooked up to the neshama and the ruach. I mean, they're atheists. I don't believe in the whole thing. But it's an interesting intellectual exercise. So that's Shaloi Lishma. There's even Mekubalim that learn Shaloi Lishma. But even mitzvahs could be Shaloi Lishma. And I pointed to tzedakah. Many mitzvahs you could do Shaloi Lishma. So the Gemara says that if it's a chasarin, I'm interpreting the Gemara. If it's a chasarin and you're feeding off the klipa, and you're energizing, you're creating energy from the Sitra Achra, so why should you do it? So the Gemara says, I have a heter for you. Yasek Adam b'Torah mitzvah shaloi lishma, shemitak shaloi lishma b'lishma. It has no value. Not only it has no value, zero value, sub-zero value, has a negative value, but the Gemara says it's kedai. Why is it kedai? Because at least in the world of Ma'aseh, you're getting into a good habit. Like a cotton, like chinuch, you're getting into a good habit. And it's kedai to take some energy off the klipa to get into a good habit, because sooner or later you'll do it lishma. If you get into good regilas, all of a sudden you'll wake up one morning and do stuff lishma. This is a heter. This is not a chiyuv. This is a heter of oisek adam b'Torah mitzvah shaloi lishma. It's like an averu lishma. It's like an Aver Lishma. So while I said the word Aver Lishma, let me just explain. The Gemara, same Gemara, tells us, Gadol Aver Lishma, mi mitzvah shaloi lishma. There's no comparison to an Aver Lishma and a mitzvah lishma. Obviously, a mitzvah lishma, you got the trifecta here. You have the neshama, the ruach and the nefesh, everything's online. You've done a mitzvah b'shleimus, that's a mitzvah b'lishma. But what if I do an Aver Lishma? So on this, the Gemara says, listen, I was masak in the oilam of neshama, machshav. I was masak in the oilam of ruach, right, deeper. Okay, my maisa is going south. I haven't done the right thing. But since I've got it, I've got 2 out of 3. Compare that, says the Gemara, Aver Lishma, with a mitzvah, Shaloi Lishma. What do you have over there? I've done a maisa. I have no machshava, I have no ruach. I have no neshama, I have no ruach. I'm only maisa. If you have to compare, you're gadol aver lishma mi mitzvah shaloi lishma. And then the Gemara comes with this other chiddush, and you know what? Do shaloi lishma anyway. A fartrunken a maisa, an empty maisa, a maisa that has no backing of neshama at all. Do it anyways, because by doing it anyways, you'll get into a good habit. That's a heter. A heter of Aver Lishma. Very, very important to understand. Now, here's an unbelievable thing. On his idea, it's a chiddush nifla. The Rambam's first chiddush is that mitzvah shaloi lishma are no good. Reb Chaim Volozhin teaches us, we learned it inside, that if a person does an avera, or a mitzvah shaloi lishma. So again, you're not being energized by the makor ha'or. You're being energized by some klipa. When you do a mitzvah lishma, the light that you've brought into your maisa returns to the sharish ha'elyon, like a circle, like the rain cycle, and that becomes hu gufa, says Reb Chaim Volozhin, is your elam haba. That's your schar mitzvah. We need to talk about that also, because it's hard to wrap my brain around it. Meaning your schar mitzvah is not the pot of gold at the end of the road that you get, okay, you behaved. You did good. Here's your reward.
It's accrued.
Yeah, that's almost like Arab to think like that. You know, if I do this, what they call a mitzvah, like I blow myself up, so all of a sudden I'm zeicha to virgins and to that's mishagas. Just the mitzvah that you've done returns the or to its shirish. So now that when a person dies, you've unhooked yourself from the world of Maisa, and your neshama naturally goes to that place of the or which you created through the cycle. And now you're in a place of great or. That's Shaar. What's Gehenna? Gehenna is, says Reb Chaim Volozhin, Lashon over here, that if I do an Aveira, so I'm not being moisef any or at all, I'm being moisef choshech and tumah and klipa. That's his Lashon here. Let me give you a Lashon. L'uma person does an Aveira, mamshich gam al atzmai ruach hatumah, he's bringing it down, ruach hatumah, onto himself. That's how you get the koach to do the Aveira. That's true also of a mitzvah shalai lishma. Shemilafaftoi, the eis asiyas ha'avain, milafaftoi. It energizes me. The eis asiyas ha'avain, va'achar asoisei haruach tuma mistalik limkoimai. The tumah is finished with you. You've now added to it. You've created it. You've cultivated malafaftai, like pickled it, right? You've created this tumah. Now that's mistalik limkoimai. V'hu b'chayev b'gehenna mamish. While you're doing the Aveira, what is Gehenna? Gehenna means I'm living off a klipa. I'm living in a sitra achra. Could look good. In fact, it could look very good. It could look very glossy. It could look very vibrant. But it's living off a klipa, Hollywood, right? It's living off a klipa. It's mamish b'gehenna mamish. Hamakifoi beis asiyas achet. You're Gehenna while you're doing that mitzvah, even though it might feel good here. But you don't feel the Gehenna ad acher p'tirasa until you get out of the world of Asiyah, because in Asiyah it feels okay. And after you unhook from your body, what happens to your neshama? It's no longer hooked in to the reshet, to the trap which it was in. So you're now living in that tumah and that klipa, which is apparently a very, very painful place to be. Rishoyim, the Gemara says in Erev Yutes, Ma'mikin lahem Gehenna. So there's this chiddush of I make my schar, I make my oynish. Okay. I do a mitzvah shaloi lishma. Let's just get it all together here. I do a mitzvah shaloi lishma. The Kadosh Baruch Hu says Yeshayahu HaNavi told us b'nevuah that bibi kesh b'imcha. I didn't ask you to do any mitzvahs. Now all you've done is you were moisef tumah in the world. We do it. Kasha, why do we do it? So here I am. Now I want to do tshuva. What happens when I do tshuva? This is a pella to understand tshuva. Says the Gemara, the Rabbah brings, Zedainos nasa keschuyos. All of the actions that you did, which were energized by a klipa, by a sitra achra, all of a sudden become mitzvahs. They unhook, limafreya. They unhook from the klipa, and now they hook back up to the shirish hatoiv. Nasa keschuyos. It's as if I did mitzvahs. So if I did, now here's a new pshat. You do a mitzvah shaloi lishma. Should be talking shaloi lishma, ba lishma. The pshat might be that when I switch over, when I turn that corner, when I change the channel, and I get to the place of lishma, Be'ezus Hashem. So now all the things that I did shaloi lishma unhook from the klipa and limafreya nasa keschuyos. What a beautiful thing. In the mechanics of it, it's beautiful. How could it be? So on the one hand, it's a mess. Like here, I did this, and my whole energy to do this was klipa and sitrachra, and now it became a schus for me. And Alei Mamar Chazal, these people who say the Malkam Shabali Tshuva Ibnim Tzadikim Gebur Meni Mechal Lamacham. Why? Reb Tzaddik says because where do you find a tzaddik that does as many mitzvahs as this Russian did Averis? Every minute he's doing an Aver, every minute he's living off the klipa, and all that turns into schuyot. So like this is like bigger than the Chafetz Chaim. In other words, your typical real Russia did more Averis, so the Chafetz Chaim did mitzvahs. So b'malkam shabali tshuva ibn eight tzadikim gebur b'chalav lamid. I can't stand in your mechitza. You have so many mitzvahs. So what does it mean? Lumdus. It means that I've taken everything that was energized from completely the wrong way, and I've changed its energy, like the gas in the car was bad stuff, and somehow by doing tshuva, retroactively I changed the gas to the right stuff, and now everything I went didn't destroy the car, it was helping the car. It's a nasnigla. Unless you understand that sof kol sof, lemafreya, an avera can be a great stepping stone to kedusha. Not lechatchila, but lemafreya. Lechatchila, if you think that, it doesn't work. But lemafreya, like we know that there's such a concept in psychology of hit bottom. So it could be the very last drink, that an alcoholic drinks, which pushed him into a program of recovery. Amos? Bottomed out. Well, that was too much. Bad trip. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm becoming a Baal Tshuva. So what happens? The last drink was actually medicine for you.
That doesn't work with Avera L'Shma.
You don't
Because
need it.
Avera L'Shma is by definition a positive thing.
Well, you don't need to retroactively hook it up to your neshama, because it is hooked up to your neshama. Now I don't know. By the way, now that you mentioned that, I'm not sure if you have to do tshuva for an Avera L'Shma. It's not brought down that Esther did an Avera L'Shma.
Yael.
Okay, but Yael was a classic, but I'm saying Esther L'Chayr did an Avera L'Shma. I don't know. Yes, to do tshuva. Could be there was a lack. Could be there was some kind of a lack of shleimus that she wasn't that she didn't have all three. I'm not going and judging Esther, but I'm only saying that I don't think there's an Indian of tshuva, because your tshuva means that I'm unhooking from the Sitra Achra, I'm hooking it up now to the Makor HaKedusha. Now even the Averis that I did become hooked up to the Kedusha.
As long as there's no kavanah to do an avera lishma, so come Yotzi, I'll do this.
Well, what does that mean? Kavanah to Avera Lishma?
Rabbi, so it seems like the world is getting to be a darker and darker place. I would think that because of what we're learning now, that the Baal Tshuva movement would have had huge positive ramifications to counter.
Does?
Shemayim.
What do you mean? Why should I? I remember, I'm old enough to remember, me and Harry are old enough to remember, that when the Berlin Wall came down, Sir Rav Schwab, Olav Shalom, said, it's the koach of the Baal Tshuva movement.
What about someone who,
Now, I understood it, just one second, I understood it at the time superficially. In other words, this power of rebellion, the power of spring, the power of going, the spring, the power of going against what the currents of the world, that brought down an establishment which was so strong, like it was so strong, the communists, it was so strong, when I was a kid, we did shelter drills all the time. I had to run into the shelter in case we get nuked, It was so strong, that Cold War, that I don't know what was cold about it, it was very strong. Who would have thought that would be, and so many things in history. So Rav Schwab said, you want to know what it is? It's the Baal Tshuva movement, but not just the koach to rebel and go against the currents of the world. Here's a deeper thing: all of the light that was brought. Now the problem is there isn't that many Baalei Tshuva. That's the problem. How many Baalei Tshuva are there? A couple thousand out of millions. So it needs to get stronger. I think that we kind of fool ourselves by talking about even saying the word about Tshuva movement, Eifa movement, what movement? Where's the movement? It's all 80% of it is davos of the shul. Simulation is a movement. That's correct. Well said. Unfortunately, that's a movement. How do you define a movement? Look, if you I was standing by Tashlach at the Mediterranean in Ashdod, I was thinking to myself that there are billions of gallons of water going this way, coming in. The tide was high. Imagine you'd see one wave going the other way. Okay, that's pretty cool. That would be, you'll never see it. So is it a movement? I don't know if it's a movement. You haven't changed the sea, you haven't made a sea change, but it's, it's a phenomenon, that's for sure. But I just feel, well, I'm being political here, that by referring to it as a movement, it makes the frum world feel very smug. There's a movement going on out there. Who's taking care of it? I don't know. It's Aish.com. Somebody's taking care of it out there. But there's a movement going on. Lubavitcher.
They call it revolution.
A revolution. So where's the revolution? I don't. I don't know. I'm speaking about myself. I was a Kira person for years and years and years, but movement. But you save who you can save. You rescue who you can rescue, and it's mostly for where it's mostly for. Did you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to say, when you said that it's mafreya, someone who does tshuva, all they bears become.
Chuyos.
Yes. So what about someone who goes off to there after that? Like, does it go back?
Oh. Yeah. I was thinking of the lashon in the Gemara, so interesting. Echti yashuv. Like, why does it say twice? Echti yashuv, ain't must speak in biyodei lasat tshuva. Because that's the derech. Echti yashuv. There's a certain a pattern over here to the instability. I would probably, I'm going to guess. I can't say I know. I would guess that mida tova meruba, that once something it becomes or and it becomes good, you can't go back to bad. Ein tava, the lashon of the Gemara is ein tava nasa bisha. Something good doesn't become bad. The chiddush of tshuva is something bad can become good. So if a person has a moment of tshuva, you could be masakin oilamais with a moment of tshuva. But I'm saying that the or that it's bringing. Now, 2 more minutes. Let me just say one more thing. So we understand, so to speak, we understand Shaar, we understand Gehenim. We understand Lishma, I'm hooked up. We understand Shaloi Lishma, and we spoke about Shuvah. So I just want to explain one more thing. That there's a Chassid Yavitz, I brought it, 2 things really. First of all, I found in the Rav Shulchan Aruch, after I realized this tremendous chiddush, the Rav Shulchan Aruch says this lashon, just before I go to the next thing. Amnam is the lashon of the Rav Shulchan Aruch. It's in Hilchos Talmud Torah, Parak Daled Halacha Gimel. Says the Rav Shulchan Aruch, Mikol Malkom Einanu Doichin Harishah. After he gives a whole drasha about how bad it is to do mitzvah shaloi l'shma, he says Mikol Malkom, and this is spoken as the first Lubavitcher Rebbe of Yul, but he says Halacha. Ein Doichin Harishayim shaloi l'kayim mitzvahs. We don't tell Rishayim don't be Makayim mitzvahs. Shake the lulav with them, put tefillin on them, get them to give tzedakah. Do you know, by the way, like the Brisker Rav, to the best of his ability, all of a sudden, wouldn't take tzedakah from somebody that he thought it was shaloi l'shma. I don't want to put sitracha into my building, into my talmidim. There's an integrity there. And if you want to take the tzedakah, you have to become a big makubal. Like, okay. But I'm saying that, like the tzaddikim of that type, Brisker Rav once told somebody, he says, if you don't stop your behavior, I'm not going to take any more tzedakah from you. And not only that, I'm going to tell all the other Rosh Yeshivas not to take from you either, and then you'll really be cooked. Brisker Rav, it was a different thing. So, but comes the Rav Shulchan Aruch, he says, Amnon, Einanu doichen harishayim shaloi l'kayim mitzvahs. The berega sheyachzeru b'tshuva moitzim me'aklipas v'chayzim l'kedusha. Babish before shkidvar. I thought it was my chiddush in the Rambam. The Rav Shulchan Aruch says it. That because it's kedai to get the Russia to do mitzvahs, put on the tefillin, give some tzedakah, because what's going to happen? Be'ezus Hashem, he's going to do teshuvah, and when he does teshuvah, now he's got money in the bank. He's got schar. Why? Because all of a sudden, all those shalom lishmas will hook into lishma.
Why we assume this is not lishma? That way, taking the Russian and putting tefillin on it. Why is that not lishma at that point?
Why isn't it lishma? Could be there's a good lishma in it. But what we're saying, even
He's
if it
putting in
is,
a bank, not, that is not Shaar retroactively once he does tshuva, even before tshuva.
yeah, if there's a Nakuda of Lishma in it. Yeah, so there's two kinds of Rishayim. Not so bad and bad. The not so bad is you say, okay, look, there's a Nakuda Toiva in there, but the Lashon of the Gemara is Hama'ar Shabai Machzirah Lamuta. That if you're learning Torah, this is Rav Shulchan Aruch brings, if you're learning Torah, you got to believe that even if it's Shaloi Lishma, the Torah itself has or in it. This is the or that we're talking about. Somehow it will penetrate me in my Shaloi Lishma and eventually will cause a turnaround in my thinking. So says the Rav Shulchan Aruch, he warns us, don't deprive people of Limud HaTorah, because if he'll do tshuva, Rega Shiachzir b'tshuva, Moitzin mehaklipos, all of the klipos that were energizing his mitzvah, Chayzrin l'kedusha. V'habal tshuva makabel oz b'chazara hakedusha mitzvah shekayim ba'oidei rasha. And now he's getting all of his tainted money becomes l'mafreya untainted if he does tshuva. Or, like you said, maybe there's a nakuda of Torah in there. But let's say even there isn't. So in other words, here I'm the brisker of. I'm not taking the tzedakah because it's tainted. But what would be a smarter thing to do, if I may, is take the money, put it in a special Swiss account, and wait till the guy does tshuva, right? Introduce him to Chabad. That will live mafreya. What? Yeah, that was not going to happen, right? and that will live mafreya, untaint the money that he has, because now that money, the gashmius of his money, is unhooked from the klipa, unhooked into the makar of kedusha, and it becomes not only an or for him, but an or for me and my building and everything else that I'm doing. Now, maybe he didn't have that hope in people. You see, I just like politically, and I'm not even going to say the second thing I want to say because I want to end here, but it's, I have to say that today, I think, I'm just saying this far, I'll leave you with this thought, I'm just saying what I thought, that today a mitzvah shalei lishma has a different meaning and ramification than 100 years ago, a mitzvah shalei lishma. Because a mitzvah shalei lishma 100 years ago referred to the maskilim that were completely academic, and I'm not talking about them as individuals. Maybe they had the neshamas. I'm not judging them, but I'm saying as a movement, that was a movement. It worked. The reform movement is a movement. That's a movement. But it was shaloi lishma in the sense back in those days they learned Gemara and they learned halacha. But as the Gemara says, it was lakanter. It was feeding a klipa in that sense. I don't think it's true anymore. In other words, I just take my own experience. Like I went to a cage. They asked me to present once at a cage convention. You know what that is? So cage, C-A-J-E, Jewish education. I don't remember what the CA stands for. Maybe coalition is, but they asked me to present. This is the Torah U'Masora convention of the Reform movement. Like all the educators, Jewish educators of not even America, the world, come together. Torah U'Masora convention has